All right, and joining us now on the Night Shift podcast, he is officially the first head coach to lead a big UCF program to a share of a Big 12 title. It is women's tennis head coach Bryan Koniecko now joining us on the Night Shift podcast. Coach, how you feeling now with that title under your belt?
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was a fun weekend for sure. It was a stressful weekend, I think for everyone, for players, coaches, but ended up being a really fun weekend, and definitely proud to do it with this group for sure and represent UCF in the Big 12 conference. It's definitely an honor.
I remember talking with you after senior day, and I remember asking you because you saw how the men fared when they traveled out to BYU fairly recently, and it ended up coming down to the wire for your athletes as well. Just tell me, what was it like being out there in Provo? Did you end up having to, and I know that the men, I think, went indoors. Did you end up having to do that? Just what was it like being out there in Provo?
Yeah, no, we were outside for both matches, Provo and Utah. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we are always follow the men, and they had a tough one over there, didn't go their way, but obviously speaking with Lloyd and understanding how tough the conditions are and being able to learn a couple things from him and how his team adapted to those conditions helped us a little bit for sure. But we tried to get out there a little bit earlier, get a couple days of practice in there, and yeah, just not easy playing in altitude tennis. Just a little bit of a different ball game. Sometimes you want to swing freely, but you don't know if the altitude is going to travel and keep your ball out. So you got to trust yourself a little bit more. And BYU had some supporters out, some people out to try to get them a win, and it was definitely a tough match, tough environment, but all in all, we handled it all right and got through with it.
Of course, Olivia ended up coming in clutch with her second clinching point of the season after Sophia ended up having her winning streak snap by her former teammate. Just what was it like to see Olivia out there once again in that position?
Yeah, I mean, we're really proud of Olivia for, I mean, just being in such a tough moment against a really good player. I think, a couple of top players in our conference battling it out for the match, and yeah, we had a full trust in Olivia to get it done. And 5-5, third set, first person to win 8 points wins the match. And Olivia stood tough, and yeah, we're really proud of her and her efforts for that match. Really was amazing to see.
You ended up needing both wins because it was a three-way tie at the lead of the Big 12. So all three of you ended up getting a share of the title with Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Just what was it like with this Big 12 conference down the stretch when capturing a share of the title kind of became more of a real thing?
Yeah, I think we addressed it. We definitely didn't sweep it under the rug and act like it wasn't there for us. As things got closer, I think we all kind of knew what we were playing for, and we talked about it, and we acted. We wanted to chase it instead of be a little bit scared of the moment or act like we're not playing for something big. I think it's important to address the elephant in the room and understand that it's a privilege to be in this position, and a lot of teams would be lucky to be in the position and fortunate that we were in, and we had to play like that. We had to play like we were fortunate, like we had a chip on our shoulder, and we did, and got a share of the title with Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Some great teams, a lot of great teams in our conference. So we're just we're really fortunate to put together a great regular season, and girls deserve it for sure.
So you ended up getting to now 20 wins on the season with that last win over Utah, the fourth time that you've gotten 20 wins here in Orlando. Considering that these past two seasons you had just below 500 records, what's it like to finally put it all together to get for your first 20 win seasons in 4 years? Last one was 2021.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you don't really you don't think about it. You think about the group that you have every year, and you think about all the things that you need to do to try to have the most successful year. And I feel like once the year is done, it's you're on to the next year, and you're on to trying to develop players in the summer and try to get them prepared for these moments. And I think this team this year has done a great job preparing. They've been very coachable, and and we have a young team, obviously. So this has been a very different year for coaching for me than most. This is by far the youngest roster I've had, and especially with the amount of starters that we've had in our lineup. So it's been a lot of learning, a lot of just really trying to explain a lot of details, even to the point of rules, of how many overrules you get in matches, and just little things like that you don't even think about with a more veteran team. And but this team was very willing to learn, very coachable, very excited, and I'm glad they created some history for UCF.
Yeah, I was going to ask, I mean, what does that do for you as a coach to bring all of these young players in and then in season 1 with them go out and do something like this?
Yeah, I don't. It was never, it was never kind of a goal that we talked about. Like, obviously, it's there, and we talk about trying to win every match that we play. That's obviously the goal, and trying to prepare the best, trying to fight the best that we can. But ultimately, this group is they're super tight. They're close to each other, and I think some of these matches that I look back in our conference that came down to the wire, we just we fought really hard. The girls that are supporting us off the court, they're loud. They get their teammates through these tough moments, and we've been able to be fortunate in a lot of these moments, and which got us to deserve the share of the title at the end.
So I mentioned that this gets you to 20 wins, and you are actually now tied with Gail Falkenberg, who also got 420-win seasons during her time at UCF. And earlier this season, of course, you passed her on the all-time win list at UCF, becoming the winningest head coach in program history. You've been here now, like this is your 9th season, if I remember correctly. So what does it mean to you to be able to kind of go through, maybe, I guess, at least from a record standpoint, a valley to come out on this end? And now that you're the director of tennis as well, how much have you kind of really put your own stamp on this program?
Yeah, yeah, it's cool to continue to make history. I think it's I'm really fortunate to be in this position, and I'm thankful to Terry and Abby for putting me in this position to lead our program. So I don't take it for granted any day, and I just feel 9 seasons here, you're just constantly learning and adapting. I feel like you just until you have one thing figured out, or you think you've got it, there's something else to figure out, and different way to coach, different way to get through to players, different way to get a team to bond, and all of these things have just been fun to be a part of. There's just a lot of ups and downs, and like we say with the team, there never is a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always something else to adapt to and to coming, and it's nice to have these special moments. But yeah, it's fun to look back on. But I just think about all of the things that I've learned over the years, and hopefully continue to learn.
What does it mean to you to be the first head coach at UCF to bring in a Big 12 title into the fold? Because no matter what happens, at least in the future, maybe there's like a first solo team title at some point for someone. But as far as just the first title, whether it's a share or anything, you're the first. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah. I think we talked about it today. We had a team meeting, and it's tough to kind of reflect on now because we still have a month left in season, and we have a lot of things to continue to play for. And, we want to keep this group together as many days as possible. So, we definitely understand what we did, but it's not the time to celebrate quite yet. We still need to keep pushing, and we still need to get better. But we have some unbelievable coaches at UCF, and who do a lot, for their teams, and it's just a matter of time before a lot of teams are getting it done as well. I mean, I'm just really proud and fortunate to be the first. It's really cool to represent our university in the Big 12, and but yeah, it's been fun.
So looking back on this conference schedule, which, by the way, 13 games, which is the longest conference season I think I've seen in this program's history, at least in recent program history anyway.
Yeah.
What's the difference about having a longer conference season with the Big 12, and looking back on this regular season, where would you kind of say was maybe a turning point, if any, that kind of made you think like, oh man, this is like that we could do this?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's different. It's physical for many weekends in a row. Obviously we're playing seven weekends in a row of Friday, Sunday matches, and trying to recover the body on Monday and Tuesday, have a good preparation Wednesday, Thursday, and then back at it on Friday and Sunday again. And then you mix in the travel and all of that stuff. So a lot of things that we spoke about early in the fall about how this is going to be, and how, we kind of have to manage our bodies and our minds throughout this long season because of all the travel and the weekend. So that part of it was different, before we can build our schedule a little bit more in the American, and, you have some more weekends, you maybe can play around to give your team more rest. But in here, it's obviously you're just playing all the time. And so we had to definitely, do things a little bit, to get our players feeling fresh every single weekend. So I feel like we've done a pretty good job with that. But yeah, what was your second part to that question? I forget.
The second one was where during the season,
Oh yeah,
like the turning point that this maybe seemed like a possibility to you, or at least it kind of entered your realm of, oh, we could do this.
Yeah. Probably when we beat Oklahoma State on the road, when we ended up beating them 4-3, that was, we knew we could do it. Like, I mean, we knew the whole time that we could have a chance to clinch a Big 12 title. But I think that kind of solidified it. And then when we, won close against Baylor at home too, that was another one where that was, that was big for us. But I think those matches gave this team a lot of confidence. Like, hey, we can do this. Doesn't matter how young we are, but we belong here and we can do it.
Yeah, that Oklahoma State and Baylor games, back-to-back matches right there.
Yeah.
Good confidence booster for the rest of the series.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and, because now that the Big 12 bracket is out, and you ended up getting the number 2 seed because your one loss to Texas Tech that drops you on the tiebreaker, but you also tied with Oklahoma State. You beat them, so that's a tiebreaker. So you're the number 2 seed, and that means you get direct passage by into Friday, which is day 3 of the tournament. You got the 8th seed in the Big 12 tournament last season, so which in this year would have been the day before on Thursday. So how big is it to kind of get that extra day off before you start in the Big 12 tournament?
Yeah, it's nice. It's different, but it gives us a little bit of extra time to prepare. We'll be able to watch the teams that we play in the quarterfinals play against each other and scout a little bit. So that'll be nice. But again, on the flip side, those teams got to play a match at the Baylor's courts, and it's going to be our first match. So, it's a little bit, you can see it from both ends, but obviously the rest is nice to play a little bit less tennis from a physical season is nice. And, but yeah, we have to switch our mindset because now it's postseason time, and everyone knows that if they lose, they go home, so everyone's going to give everything that they got in their final push, and we have to be ready for everyone's best. And we're going to definitely approach it that way for sure.
It's a bit of a multiple choice this time around of who you're going to play. It's going to be one of either West Virginia, Kansas State, or a rematch with BYU. Considering BYU has the 7th seed, and suppose that they're next. You mentioned about how altitude tennis kind of played a role there. Obviously, that's going to change a bit if it's in Baylor. So, what is the prospect of potentially facing them again in this environment do for you?
Yeah, I think, look, we know that we just played them, we just survived, so we're not going to take it lightly. I mean, we know, we were a couple points away from not escaping that one. So we understand the margins. We understand how tough it is. Obviously, it's going to be nice to play in a neutral location and not to play in someone's home court advantage. So that will help. But Kansas State, West Virginia, they could obviously get it done as well. So we're going to be prepared for all three of them. But yeah, I mean, all of these matches, we know that once you're in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 tournament, everyone's good. And, a lot of teams can win this tournament. So we're going to have to be really dialed in and prepared.
So as of right now, you guys are ranked number 20 in the ITA rankings. It's likely going to change by Tuesday. We're recording this on Monday, but the top 16 teams get the chance to host for the NCAA tournament. So what do you think that your team needs to do in order to put yourself into that conversation? Because if I remember right, I believe you guys hosted in 21, which is the last time you got 20 wins in a season.
Yeah. I think we need to win our quarterfinal match in the Big 12 tournament. That's the only thing that I think about. Everything else will fall into place how it is. Obviously, we want to play at home. We have a crowd and a support group that hopes that we get to play in front of them one more time. And I know they'd be fired up to cheer us on at home one more time. And we're going to give everything that we can to do that. But it's obviously what we want to do, but it's nothing that we talk about. There's no math that we do. We just have to go in there and we got to win a tough quarterfinal match and hopefully be fortunate enough to play in the semifinals. That's the only thing that matters. And everything else will fall into place as it should be. But obviously we would love to play at home and have the support, because I think we have some great support at home.
I'd be remiss if I didn't get a chance to ask the director of tennis, Koniecko, about the performance of the men's team over this past last weekend as well. They ended up finishing with the 4th in the Big 12 standings and will be the number 4 seed going into the Big 12 tournament to face Utah on Friday, as well as later in the day after your quarterfinal match in Baylor. So just what's it been like watching Lloyd through his second season and to see him get this point to 4 seed into the Big 12 tournament, and also putting himself in the potential to host as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of that whole program and what they're doing, what Lloyd is doing, with what Kareem is doing, and what the guys are doing. I mean, I don't think people understand like how phenomenal of a job what they're doing to have, a top 5 win and to have I believe 2 top 15 wins. Or top 10 wins. It's really incredible what they're doing. They had a tough weekend this past weekend and came through in a war against Oklahoma State and at Texas Tech on the road. So these margins are so thin, especially on the men's side in the Big 12 conference, and they just continue to kind of find a way to get it done. I think they're a tough team. I think they're a close group. I think both men's and women's tennis are super close and they support each other all the time. And, we feel their energy and passion when we play, and our girls get after it when they play. They cheer them on hard too. And I think they're all fighting for each other. And it's been fun. It's just been fun to kind of grow it. And I'm really, Lloyd and Kareem are rock stars, and, proud of them for what they're doing for sure.
What's it like for all of you guys to be in the same place in Waco for both the men's and the women's championships? Because I don't believe that that's something that the Big 12 really does, at least between the men and the women, for other sports. So what's it like for all of you guys to travel together to one place?
Yeah, it's so cool. I think the girls are probably just going to want to stay and watch the guys the whole time, and I'm going to have to be the bad guy to say we got to go home and rest, because they just love supporting them. They love watching them. They're like family, and they really care about each other. So I think they're so excited to hit the road on Wednesday and be there with them and support. Hopefully maybe get some couple dinners in together if the schedule allows. So to be able to do that as a director and try to get both teams together, it's just fun for me to see. It brings a lot of joy to me for sure.
So in terms of just on court and all that, what do you think this team needs to do if they want to bring home the title? Because that will be, of course, another first to bring home a tournament title. So what do you think this team needs to do to potentially make more history down the road?
We have to, we gotta deal with, tough moments and pressure moments well. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think we had a great experience this weekend that we can take from. We were nervous. We wanted it so badly to win both matches at BYU and Utah to bring UCF a Big 12 title. And it's definitely weighed off our back for sure that we felt from this weekend. And because we felt that, we probably didn't perform at our best on all of the courts. So I think the positive is that there's a lot of improvement, a room to improve of how we can handle ourselves in the big moments, because that's what it's going to be. You know, there's going to be the guys teams, the girls teams. There's going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of screaming and yelling and fighting over there. And we're just going to have to deal with those pressure situations really well. And, you know, we're young, but we have to use the experiences that we had quickly. You know, we spoke about, you know, we actually spoke about that this morning, and we spoke about look what Rory did this weekend, you know, and I think that's a great example of 21-year-old Rory who choked it, and he choked it again yesterday. But what he did yesterday was he responded, and I think it was actually a great example for our team of, you know, how we can handle adversity quickly and move on, because bad things will happen, not if it will happen. And when it happens, how are we going to be? How are we going to respond? Will give us an opportunity to maybe hold a trophy at the end. But if we don't respond, we won't have a chance. But if we do, we maybe have a chance. Yeah.
Love the Masters reference right there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I was gonna say, because with how young this team is, what's it like having to coach them through these high pressure situations like this with such a young squad?
I think it's just giving them the belief that they can do it. You know, because they haven't. There's a lot of firsts here. You know, there's a lot of first time going to play in altitude. We're playing for the Big 12. We're in the Big 12. There's a lot of firsts for the girls, and so we're just trying to talk them through it and really just make them believe that they can do it, and how actually good of a tennis players there are, and they focus on their tennis and what they actually have to do instead of thinking about the final product or the result. I think that's been that, you know, pumping them up, giving them the confidence that they need. And they also pick each other up unbelievably well. This is a team that cares deeply about each other. And sometimes I don't even have to do the work. Sometimes they you know, uplift each other when they feel that they're down, and they actually do a better job of it than I do. So it helps me a lot too.
So as far as this accomplishment, first share of a Big 12 title in UCF history as a team, where does this rank for you in terms of accomplishments for your career?
Oh yeah, it's up there. It's hard to rank them because they're all just different and special and different, you know, times of my coaching career and stuff like that. But yeah, there's been so many fun moments at UCF, and, you know, reaching a couple Sweet 16s, winning our first American championship, getting to top 25 the first time, now winning a Big 12. There's a lot of just, you know, different people, different feelings and stuff like that, different times in life. But yeah, this is, you know, something I think, you know, you'll never forget. You know, it's obviously your first, and, you know, I mean, I'm really glad to do it with this group for sure.
Well, you'll have a chance to go make more history this weekend on Friday, April 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. You'll take on your quarterfinal matchup in the Big 12 tournament. And later the following day, of course, you have the men's squad at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I got to remember the time zone factors in there, where the men's team takes on Utah, and then we'll go from there. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. And just any last words to the audience?
Yeah, I just I want to thank everyone for their support. I didn't mention, you know, Francesca earlier too, but what she does for our program, our assistant coach, Francesca Di Lorenzo, what she means for our team has been instrumental to where we are today. So I just want to thank her. We just feel a lot of love and support from UCF, and, you know, thanks for everyone for supporting. And we hope that we can come back and get a championship for everyone and get a chance to play at home one more time. So thank you, and go Knights.
Awesome. Best of luck out in Waco, Coach.
Yeah. Thank you.